Hey guys, welcome back to another Coding Flamingo video. So in the past I've made multiple videos about how to do AAD authentication, Okta authentication, and sometimes you do it and there's a problem and you can't fix it. I was just inspired by Mark. Thank you, Mark, if you're subscribed. I don't know if you are and you see in this video. This was inspired by you asking me questions about how to fix your multi-tenant application after watching my video. And today I'm going to show you how to debug the identity side of things, which if you don't know the tools and everything, it might be a little bit hard to do. So first we have our Blazor WebAssembly application with AAD authentication. And we have our authentication and everything here. We followed kind of my video and set up our validated issuer, which is very important. This one validates that Azure actually signed the token. So if not, anybody could create a token and just give it to you. Validated audience, it means that it validates that the token was actually issued for your application and they're not stealing the token from another application. Validate lifetime, just make sure that it's actually valid. Validate the keys, that they're actually the keys that Microsoft uses. And then the valid issuers, we pass down here which tenants we want to use, which, spoiler alert, that's going to be the bug that I introduced on purpose. So now we're going to run this application. And in here, I'm able to log in. I set up my Azure application and everything works. But when I go to fetch data, I'm gonna start with F12 and I get a 401 and there's an error that it cannot get information. So if we actually look at the 401, this is the important part. We can see that there is a token here, but if we go to the response headers, we can actually see an error here. So we can see invalid token and then the issuer STS my tenant ID is invalid. The reason for that is in here I changed the 1 to a 2. So if we change that, it'll work. But let's say that's not the problem and you don't know what it is. A great tool is jwt.ms, which allows you to decode the tokens and actually see it in human readable instead of a base 64. So I'm just going to copy my token. And this one is actually, it does everything in your computer, so nothing goes on the internet and they're not stealing your token. And I'm gonna paste it here. And in here, it actually color codes it of what each part of the token is. Doesn't really matter at the top. And then in here, we can see like the first part is kind of like the algorithm and everything tells the computer what to do. But then in here is the important thing. So the audience, that's your client ID. So like that's your app ID. The issuance is the STS that actually issued, so your tenant. So it's basically sts.windows.net/your tenant. And in here it has like information that you can use. This you use a backend or something to like get the actual name or IP address and so on of the customer that you can use to either validate it or to have like the user experience of like, hey, like here's your name and everything. And in here it actually explains that everything to you. So if you want to know more details about each one of the things, you just click on claims and it'll explain like each one of the claims, what it does. And so this is a great tool for debugging and everything, but this wasn't the case. And our problem was that the STS wasn't in valid issuers, which we get from the tenant. So I fixed this to 1 and we get that here, we split it and we add it here. So after our amazing debugging session and we learn about some tools, let's run it again and see if that fixed the issue. So we run that again, we do F12, we log in, it works, and now it works, we get a 200. So that's how you fix identity issues and that's how you debug identity issues when you're using Blazor WebAssembly and Azure Active Directory. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.